Welcome to Astrology Throwdown tonight. We were just watching video that we got from a Elvis Costello concert in England, and it was so cool getting to see what songs he's chosen for his new tour. I didn't get to see all of it, and it looked amazing. I love the lights. Anyway, so I complain constantly that fun things have been closed off to me because the banker in England who lives to destroy our lives has permanently quarantined me on top of blacklisting me to the people who run everything. They're blacklisted to me. They can't acknowledge that I exist. I can't have numbers. My Wikipedia's been taken down. I'm being punished by the person who thinks that this world is a plantation and that we're all just slaves on it. So in this time that I've been quarantined as a perfectly healthy person, thank heaven that I am healthy. Finally, my entire adult life, I was not healthy because I was looking to standard medicine for solutions, and they left me sick. And then when I got away from the medical situation that's pushed on us, obviously in 2020, that was the time to check out of that. Now I'm better. Okay? So I don't ask you to believe me, I ask you to see my results. Okay? I back everything up. Hey, the truth can be proven very easily. And something that I'm noticing about what Elvis is doing is he is telling stories through the songs he chooses. And he can do this all the time, constantly, because it's the truth. These stories will tell you the truth because I said that wrong. The songs will tell you the truth because the truth is what it is. And we're all just reflecting it. So, because he's asked me telepathically, as wild as this sounds, um, I am focusing a lot more on astrology, and I do want to say that his show is amazing. This must end. We cannot be quarantined and separated and have all of these terrible divisions forced on us. But if you can see him, go to elviscostello.com and see him. He's amazing. He's so talented. Everybody should be able to see him. He shouldn't become a point of contention because this banker in England loves to work with his oligarch friends, and then they pay all of these publicists and then the puppets that they put in charge of all of our governments. And these people, these puppets, are criminals. And how do we know they're criminals? Because they get constantly busted for crimes. And then the media covers it up, sweeps it away, throws you another psyop with a big celebrity in it. Next. That's what the whole media is there for. It's to launder the reputations of criminals. I've been watching this for years. So these people are officially criminals, but the law system is shut down for them because the Ponzi scheme is how they get all that power. Okay, so what am I doing right now? I am telling you about secrets that they don't want you to know. They do not want you to know that these oligarchs are not billionaire philanthropists. They are actually involved in organized crime, and they have very nefarious agenda for the world in the sense that they don't want most of us here. We know this because of Agenda 21 and the Georgia Guidestones, but there's a million ways that they show us that they are trying to systematically eliminate most of the population. And one of the horrible rackets that were run involved the AIDS story, and Peter Duesberg, the scientist from Berkeley, showed that there was no there was no story, there was no virus. Okay, so this is a regular trick that gets pulled, and it has been pulled multiple times since that was done with that story. And now this last time they launched it again. I'm really hoping they're going to get caught on this one, and that finally enough people will understand the situation we're in, and hopefully we can get past the brainwashing. And I'm hoping that that astrology might help give people the tools to know themselves better, understand their own energies better, to understand why these things always happen to us. It is amazing. The more I do this, the more I realize that there is absolutely something to this, and it is powerful. And that's why the the oligarchy presents it to the public as if it's something nonsensical, like, oh, don't leave the house, the sun's in Aries. They, well, I don't know exactly what they do, but it's not presented to us as a wonderful tool to help us empower ourselves and move forward. Most certainly it's not presented that way, and that is how I want to present it. And maybe we've stolen the fire from the gods, and we can save ourselves with it, because this knowledge is real. And the reason I keep saying, what am I always doing? I'm always revealing the secrets of these super powerful people. And that's a very Scorpio thing to do. And my sun is in Scorpio, and my Mercury is in Scorpio. I say these things a lot, but to have Sun and Mercury in Scorpio means that I have a tendency to talk about things that people don't want to talk about. And that creates a lot of problems for me, obviously, because they don't want me talking about these things. They blacklisted me. How do I know they blacklisted me? This is relevant to what I'm trying to say. When they blacklisted me, look, one day I woke up, my numbers disappeared, my Wikipedia was gone, the comments were gone. I mean, they turned it off. Okay, so that shows you that one banker in England probably has that much power over the internet where he can just zap me and I'm off. But I'm still on the internet, so he can only zap me to a degree. So now I'm perpetually ignored. They all ignore me, and nothing I do is ever interesting and never catches on. Guess what? That's just exposing that banker in England and his banking dynasty, the same exact banking dynasty that finagled Napoleon into house arrest. Oh, and now, 200 years later, his dynasty finagled me into house arrest and blacklisted me. Oh, guess who they did that to? Not only did they finagle Napoleon into house arrest, but the French government pretended he didn't exist. And the English government pretended he had never been leader of France. It's crazy. The way, and look at where it all comes from. Okay, who is the puppet of that banking dynasty? Nobody more than the King of France at that time. And then it became his policy to just ignore Napoleon. See? And then it was the English government's policy to pretend he never ruled France. See, 200 years ago, exactly the same as today. Wow. Okay, how do we know this? Patterns. Okay, so I'm talking about secrets and patterns. So I'm getting to my point, which is Pallas Athena is all about fighting just war through pattern recognition, through strategy. She doesn't want to be violent, but there's a place, okay? But I don't want anything violent. I really don't. I want law enforcement to do its job. Please, my people, guys are just trying to keep your jobs. I understand that, but we must fight every step of the way, every minute of our lives until this dynasty is gone, because they are out to get us, and they have brainwashed us, and they have created a lot of the problems in our lives. Okay. And obviously, talking like this creates huge problems for me. And then who comes into my life looking for trouble but Elvis? And he's compromised. There's no version of the story where he's not compromised. And I think it's fascinating that he'll just be compromised. He's been compromised the whole time. He's been saying it the whole time. So I honor him for that. And when he wants to tell us all the dirty, filthy details of his life, I respect him for that. I respect him for being honest, and I respect his freedom. And he wants to express himself. He should express himself how he wants. So yeah, we're seeing his new comedy styles. And he's funny. Oh my goodness, he's so funny. It's ridiculous how funny he is. People don't know. what's going on with him. He's amazing. I think the people around him know, but those of us who haven't had the pleasure of being around him, like me, but I get to hear him and I get to listen to him, and I do treasure whatever interaction I do have with him, even if it's not on the phone or whatever. I anything is so amazing. He's my twin flame. I know it every day. I know it more. So so we're stuck. We're really stuck with each other for a long time. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's going to be a really interesting story. He's telling it on his end, I'm telling it on my end, and we're tying it into astrology. I can't speak for him, but I can tell you what I'm hearing and what I'm. This my project is very much a collaboration with him, and he really likes astrology, really believes in it, and I do too. So so that was it. Today's the day for Pallas Athena. I've been talking about these asteroids. Okay. I talked about Ceres, Juno. Oh, I'm probably leaving one out. Anyway, so here we are. We're talking about Pallas Athena. Who's Pallas Athena? She is the goddess of wisdom. She supposedly popped out of her father's head. So these stories are bizarre, obviously. It's always some kind of the god is afraid, so eats his children story. These are ridiculous stories. And then the god pops right back out after being eaten. You know, these kind of stories, mythological stories. So so Jupiter slash Zeus is a Pallas Athena's father, and then he thinks she's gonna kill him, but she ends up he eats her and she pops out of his head. So there you go. So it's a father-daughter story. Anyway, it's ridiculous, obviously. But the funny thing is, Pallas Athena, if there's an energy that describes me, it's Pallas Athena, which is a huge compliment to myself that I'm making. But nonetheless, everything I do is patterns. I fight not with violence, but with strategy. It's not always my strategy, but you know what? It is my strategy when I do it. And my guidance is really good. And I don't just sit around plotting and thinking of things. I'm very obedient. And that's more Napoleon's job. Napoleon is my twin flame, and he plots and strategizes constantly. So he doesn't even tell me what he's doing. It's ridiculous. But I trust him. He's Napoleon. So I'm in this bizarre situation where I have like stereo Napoleon now, really stereo Napoleon. It's really funny. I've got the two, the ghost, who's still the way he was, and then the English one, who's wild. Anyway, but they are a little different, and they do have different astrology, which is also very interesting. So we're studying now what's going on in the charts of Hortense, who's the person that I think I used to be. It was Napoleon's stepdaughter. Okay, the stepdaughter of Zeus was Hortense because Napoleon was Zeus. So there's a very strong overlay into the story with Pallas Athena. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so it's so like us, this Pallas Athena. So I looked at our synastry chart, and this is on the astrology report on my blog. If you want to look at our synastry chart, I put all these charts up, and I showed you where Pallas Athena is, and then I wrote out how Pallas Athena expresses itself in the different signs. And there's a Pallas Athena calculator if you want to calculate your own Pallas Athena and find out how you express your your intelligence in a pattern recognition sort of way with this kind of father-daughter theme to it, but very righteous, like what righteous war. Okay. So I have it right on my Neptune. Okay. So think about this. I just finished saying that, yeah, I'm strategic, but I don't really come up with any of it. I get it from somewhere else. I get guidance. See, Pallas Athena conjunct Neptune. That's very literal. I am a Pallas Athena, but I use Neptune for it. It's not really my own. I'm not really like that. I don't know. I'm a little different than Napoleon. He's we couldn't be the same. We couldn't be the same. We wouldn't get along. We're really different. We're opposites. You know, he's so like, he's got plans. He's got all these plans. And my plan is I just want him happy. That's my plan. That's our dynamic. It's really funny. Anyway, so my one lucky spot in the chart, and I would even say it's perfectly lucky because it involves the eighth house, okay, which is ruled by Scorpio, ruled by, I said that wrong, but Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It's not a, it's a place of Scorpio, sort of. It's a place of Pluto. So my one like really free flowing aspect is in the eighth house, which is kind of a dark and creepy place. Death and other people's money and taxes and uh, the end of life. It really it's death, it's birth, it's sex, it's the occult, it's taboo, it's the things you don't want to talk about, it's filthy things. You know, it's not such a happy place, the eighth house. And that's where my Pallas Athena and my Neptune are. Well, all I do is talk about horrible things that I don't even want to talk about. But I have to, I must. There it is, eighth house. Oh, and where is it? It's in the constellation Sagittarius in a duplicated Sagittarius. So I have a lot of luck here. Okay, it's Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is luck. It's lucky because it's duplicated. And then my Jupiter is making a sextile with this aspect, this Pallas, Athena, and Neptune conjunction has a sextile with Jupiter. So once again, it's saying twice, this is about Jupiter. What's Jupiter about? Jupiter is about knowledge, kind of getting to the next level, the big picture, saving the world, traveling, foreigners, other countries, all that. It's philosophical, it's religious, it's spiritual, it's freedom loving, and it's good, and it's about sharing knowledge. Okay, so you can really see that this is very relevant, and I have a lot of luck, even though it's difficult and it's painful, and I have these powerful enemies, and it's so difficult. I I do very well at it. I'm still here. I'm talking to you right now. I bet a lot of people didn't think I'd make it this far, including myself. Okay. So, what else do I have there on this Pallas Athena conjunction with Neptune? I also have a sextile with Pluto. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that when the chart is telling you something, it tells it to you over and over and over again. Okay. So, the Pallas Athena conjunct Neptune, because very spiritual type of Pallas Athena. This is a Pallas Athena who listens to her guidance and does what she's told to do from her guidance. Okay, that's that kind of Pallas Athena. But she's in the eighth house. She's involved in power and secrets and things that other people don't want to talk about. But she talks about them. That's the eighth house. And then it's in Sagittarius. But it's to help people and it has a very international flavor to it. And it's about expanding our minds, expanding our possibilities. And it's lucky and it's trine Jupiter. Okay, so it's really telling you this is about Jupiter. And then it's telling you in two ways. This is about Pluto. What's it about? It's about secrets, power, dredging up secrets, dissolving. I shouldn't say dissolving because that's more Neptune, but like Pluto destroys things, you know? It's Pluto crushes things. Pluto destroys things. Pluto just smashes them. Pluto's extremely powerful. And that power must be wielded carefully. And our enemies have a lot of power to kill, and they use it to kill. We need to use our Pluto power to save ourselves and to keep them from exercising their power against us. See, everything that's going on is about power, and power is Pluto. And Pluto is in Capricorn. That represents that Pluto is going to just crush these institutions into something else. And our enemies are astrologers. So they know that Pluto will transform the institutions. And I believe they've done everything within their super wealthy Ponzi scheme ability to transform the institutions into that 1984 dream of theirs that they have for us, that they've been pushing on us since we were children. And Elvis also backed that up, that they're doing that in England also, that they're in school brainwashing us that it's inevitable that we're going to live in 1984. And we all saw their push for 1984, and it's in Elvis's music. It's in what a lot of people are saying. We all saw that they brainwashed us as children to believe that 1984 is inevitable. And then they set up all this technology to tie us up. Okay. And then what did they do in 2020? They tried to really launch 1984 on us. And what did they use? They used technology. What is technology? Technology is a place of Uranus and Aquarius. Aquarius doesn't follow the rules. Aquarius is revolution. So they're using a form to enslave us, technology, which doesn't follow the rules, which is very truthful, which is very populist. You see, the very tool that they are using to enslave us is betraying them. And astrology explains how. It's so interesting. Okay, fine. So I have this Pallas Athena. It's my job to be a warrior, to understand patterns. I could easily win a lawsuit against that banker in England because I have so many patterns. I can show his patterns. His patterns are so incredibly abnormal because he's a left-hand path, dark occult type person. He behaves in a way that's extremely abnormal. He treats children in a way unbelievable. You couldn't even imagine these things. And these things can be proven because they all come from him. Everything like that comes from him. And I can show you easily through the patterns. So patterns are really powerful. They can incriminate somebody who spent his entire life doing everything within his ability to hide who he really is. He pretends to be someone he's not. He appears to be the opposite of what he is. And patterns are how we can bring him down if we can unite and think in a new way. We can use patterns because he is completely incriminated by his patterns. That's Pallas Athena in the 8th house in Sagittarius. We could save the world with this energy. And I have a very good aspect with Jupiter and Pluto. Pluto is power. Is that a difficult energy? Does it cause me a lot of pain? Yes, it does, enormously, but it's still a great power. I have a great power here. I have Jupiter power and Pluto power freely available to me. It's showing you that in the chart. And I have all of this tension and difficulty and true anguish. I'm in anguish most of the time. See, that's fueling it because it's so excruciating to live under this regime where I'm not only blacklisted from my future, I'm also quarantined from my future. And my twin flame, I have so much heart for him, what he's going through. I know he's going through a lot. I am too. And there's this plantation owner, this banker from England decides who gets to talk to whom. And he's a liar and a criminal. And he's just a scammer. That's all he is. He's a scammer. And he's got all of these puppets. All these richest people are his puppets. And now that the whole thing's crumbling, they have to go to the richer ones. Right? So now it's the royal family, and then they have to use the more fancier ones now because they're running out, and those ones can't pretend they're not in on it. Anyway, it's all a big show. Okay, just believe me, it's all a show to hide scammers. And that's it. Pallas Athena has spoken. And if you look at the synastry between me and Elvis, you're not gonna believe this, but his synastry, okay, shows square. Okay, this is the wildest thing about Mr. Elvis, okay? Yes, he's compromised, but he's very truthful, and he has always been very truthful. He's just been in a really terrible situation, but the reason his chart is just screaming how truthful he is, and he has been truthful most of the time. Anyway, so subverted. It's a lot of it, I think, is subversion, but we've all been subverted, unfortunately. Anyway, so he has the sun aligned with Mercury, aligned with Pluto. Okay, so he's like so Pluto and so Mercury. That's his sun. Whoa, very powerful. And then the secrets, and then the power seeking, and the communication, and then that analysis. It's all there. This is a very preeminent energy in him, and the Pluto's in Leo, and the Sun is just getting into Virgo. It's just a lot of Leo to this. This is a guy who really does want you to know the truth. This is a guy who really wants power, and he wants all the attention. He should have it, I think, actually. So we'll see what we can do about that. And that's square my Pallas Athena and Neptune. Okay. So what's going on? I'm the Neptune Pallas Athena in the 8th house, telling the secrets for the world. That's pretty good there. And then he's down there or wherever it is in his chart. I really don't even know because I don't know the houses. So no, it might still be down there because of constellations. Anyway, so there's a problem. There's a anxiety. There's a tension. Is there a problem between me and him? There's every problem you can think of, obviously. So we have this tense situation. It involves his fame and his power and his ability to communicate. Oh my goodness, there it is. We all know this story. And then they were trying to hide me. That's Scorpio. Blacklisting me is trying to hide me. Okay, that they're using their power to hide me. That's Scorpio theme. Okay, so that's my 8th house, Scorpio theme. And then he has a square with this stellium of Pluto, the Sun, and Mercury. Pluto rules the 8th house. So there it is again. Okay, so now you just saw Pluto again. Now it's square his Pluto. This Pallas Athena, sextile my Pluto. Okay, so it's a very good aspect from Libra. Okay, art. Okay, but that's validating. It's like a relationship involved, or art is involved, or harmony is involved, or power imbalance is involved. Look, it's all very relevant. And then square his Pluto, plus the Sun plus Mercury, which only makes it just a way bigger Pluto. Okay, so square his huge Pluto. What did he do for me? He did the nicest thing imaginable. I owe him forever. I can't believe it. Gratitude beyond. I don't know what he can do. Get me too mad because I'm so grateful to him for the song. I can't say her name. What was he saved me with that because I knew they blacklisted me. I knew what they are. As transparent as it gets to me. They're a joke. I shouldn't say that, but boy, are they easy to see through. Wow. I mean, they have so few tricks. It's ridiculous. And then they like come back and they try the other one again. And then they like, they just, it's like they revolve their tricks. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I knew what they were doing, but they maneuvered me into this lose-lose situation. So either I say nothing, okay, and they know that's going to frustrate me, that I've been blacklisted, or I say, oh, I've been blacklisted, and I look like conceited and delusional. But I was blacklisted, and I know it, but I can't say it. They always do that to me. They create this lose-lose scenario. Either I shut up, and they know this is going to bother me to shut up, or I say something and I'm going to look somehow disfavorable to myself. That's their favorite trick they run on me. Okay. So I can't go, oh, I'm blacklisted, I'm blacklisted, I'm blacklisted. I can't do it. And they know I want to because I am. And then Elvis comes out with this song like, thank you. Thank you. Now I can finally say it. I knew I was blacklisted. It's ridiculous. They should not be able to blacklist me from an entire class of people. And the people who belong in this entire class of people, look, I know it's easy for you guys. You can just not continue to not talk about me. And, it reminds me of that first they came for the Jews, Martin Niemöller thing. First they came for me, next they come for you. Duh, duh, duh. When you don't back me up, guess what? It's that poem. And I do put that up sometimes. First they came for the Jews. Oh, well, this time first they came for Tanster. Okay, think about that. First they came for Tanster. Well, Tanster does nothing but help people. Okay, so that's a really bad sign. You guys should be backing me up. I understand money, I know. But you guys should be backing me up because next they come for you. See, this is why we need to think differently and understand things differently. I understand money. But we need to think differently. They start with me, but they finish with you guys. Adolf Eichmann, okay? Elvis gets this. He understands this, but sometimes I don't know if other people do. Okay, he understands this. Ooh, listen to him. He understands what's going on. A lot of other people do not. Anyway, so he has this Pluto, this super mega Pluto sun, Mercury's truthful, because Pluto can be very truthful. And the sun is very truthful. You can't hide anything from the sun. And it's in the place of Mercury. And it's in the place of Virgo, just service. Virgo wants to help. Virgo wants things better. And he does. He wants to help people. He's a kind person. I know this. So then what else is going on in this industry? So then you look at his Pallas Athena. What's right on his Pallas Athena? In Libra. Okay, so how does he fight? He fights through harmony. Pallas Athena and Libra. Libra wants harmony. Art. Relations. He's so known for collaborating. There it is. He fights in a Libra fashion through collaborating and through harmonizing and by making music. It's wonderful. That's a wonderful way to fight just war. So there it is. That's valid. That's real. I don't need a birth time for that. Thank goodness. And then what is right exactly there but my Pluto? So my Pluto. Okay, so think about that. So now it blends. Me and him together. We're a nightmare. We're a nightmare. Hopefully not to each other, but we're definitely nightmare to somebody. Anyway, so this industry chart is telling you all over the place that this is so unbelievably powerful. It's just pure power, astrologically. All right, that was interesting. I think I made my point. Okay. So here is a letter from Napoleon to Josephine. Okay, this is when he's just become emperor. And this is in the class of Elvis songs that I would term unconvincing love songs. You're like, oh, yeah, okay. We all know about, you just suspect it. You don't know, but like, oh, that's such an unconvincing love song. Anyway, so let's hear an unconvincing love letter. So, my love, I have been at Clay since midnight. I expect to leave this evening for Dunkirk. I am satisfied with what I see and in fairly good health. I hope that the waters are doing you as much good as the movement, the sight of the camps, and the sea. are doing me. Eugène has gone to Blois. Hortense as well. Louis is at Plombières. I have a great wish to see you. You are always necessary to my happiness. 1,000 pleasant things to you and yours, Napoleon. What is so incredibly interesting is that this is from the period where Napoleon was staging his hopeful invasion of England, okay, at Dunkirk. And then yesterday in Elvis's memoirs, he mentions that his family went to France and he went to Dunkirk where Napoleon was going to stage his invasion of England the same night yesterday. I hope you noticed that. Those kind of things happen all the time. Okay, fine. And then in Elvis's video for Under Lyme, see pattern recognition, he has this map of Europe with an arrow on it pointing to England. I want to know what he knows, okay? Because he knows he's Napoleon. I know he knows he's Napoleon. I mean, I know for sure he knows he's Napoleon. But this is incredible. These are amazing coincidences. All we can do is just keep proving it. It's amazing. It's not what I expected for sure. Okay, so let's hear. Oh, I did also want to mention that this is like one of the happiest moments of Napoleon's stepdaughter Hortense's life. She was in this miserable marriage with Napoleon's brother. And then Napoleon gave her an invitation to come visit the camp when he was about to invade England. And I've mentioned this before, but he gave her the royal treatment and she was so happy. And then at the end, he was asking her to stay. And her husband was so abusive with her that she was terrified of defying him. And then Napoleon forced her to choose between her husband and him. These crazy things. This is what's about to happen in that letter. And then he wins and he's happy. So he created impossible situations for her. And she always just went along with him because she adored him. This is the dynamic, okay? Anyway, it really is. All right? Like Napoleon, you cannot love him. He's so amazing. I did look it up. His Pallas Athena was in Leo. And he got everything he wanted through charisma. He was so you all say that he was enchanting and he put a spell on people. He was unbelievably charismatic. But I think Elvis is too. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows which one's more? I mean, they're both very, if you ask me, obviously. So, okay, let's see what's going on in this memoir. We were just hearing about the trip to Europe with his parents. We didn't eat Portuguese sardines or South African oranges in our household, so I have reflected in the years since that it was strange that my parents chose to holiday in an authoritarian country with its dark history of fascist repression and political murder, but my father liked the language, and I later discovered that he was also involved with a Spanish woman at this time. It was not as if I were entirely shielded from more public realities. I was told that my Kodak brownie was never to be trained on any member of the Guardia Civil and their strange, shiny tricorn hats and submachine guns. However, in every other respect, our welcome was unconditional. Crones plucked at my cheek and rattled away in words that I could neither separate nor understand. But my dad's Spanish was good, so there was an immediate ease. The town of Taça de Mar had 12th century castle fortifications that looked down on the narrow streets of terracotta tiled buildings and a cove that fell away sharply into deeper water. There were not yet any tall buildings, or high-rise hotels ringing the town. For a kid, it was like something out of a storybook. Holiday memories are always fragmentary. The sky, as seen on a certain day, through a viewfinder, the taste of seawater swallowed by accident, a man bearing an octopus up the beach, having impaled it with a spear gun, the aroma of piswin, tanning lotion, and Spanish tobacco. My Irish complexion turning Titan pink, then angry red, while German sunbathers fried themselves in oil until they resembled leather. Being June, the feast of Corpus Christi approached. Old women picked petals from flowers and arranged them in elaborate patterns that were stenciled in chalk on certain streets. The work would be completed on the eve of the holiday and utterly destroyed in minutes, with the flowers being trampled underfoot. The heads of onlookers were bowed as large plaster statues were hoisted onto shoulders, and embroidered banners unfurled. The silver monstrance was borne through the town, pious, genuflecting dramatically at the sight of the host, in the wake of a procession of golden threaded silk and incense. Reminds me of Tart. The Arabic streets of Seville. This is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this book with us. Thank you. I hope you have a good evening.